Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Fred Razak at CMTrading. Today is August 13, 2019, and today is Tuesday morning. So looking at the major economic events of the day, out of Great Britain this morning at 10:30 South African time, average earning index coming out, and hopefully this should lift the GBP just a little bit further. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. And then at 2:30 South African time, out of the United States, monthly core CPI number coming out. Both of these numbers are important, but they're mostly in line, so I don't think there's going to be any surprises. Looking at the Forex markets, we see that the British pound bounced yesterday off of its lows. The question is it going to be a dead cat bounce? Is it going to go back down? Is it going to be a bull flag? We're going to take a look at that. And then the South African rand continues to weaken versus the dollar. Okay, we spoke about that last week. I'm going to go in depth on it today. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, it sells off again on trade fears, which they say is trade fears. Okay, but if we look at it technically, it was due for a retracement, and we're back down below the 26,000 mark. Now, looking at the commodities, gold continues to break through its highs above 1510, and oil on minor resistance. We're going to take a look at that as well. And lastly, looking at the stocks, Microsoft bounces off support, which is previous resistance, which may give us an indication which way the Dow is going to go today. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So we're taking a look here at the GBP USD, as you can see here at a 4-hour chart. And basically, we could see that we bounced off of our lows of 120.28 right there. And the question is that are we going to challenge this downwards momentum movement and challenge this 120.28? So right now, we've bounced off of it. What I'd like to see is possibly to see if it's going to break down further. Okay, and ultimately, the only way to see that is just by waiting and watching it and really taking it in, because it's gotten beaten up. This is its lows of its lows. I mean, if we look at a multi-year perspective, let's look at a weekly. I mean, we haven't been here since 2017, which I highlighted before, and it looks like, this time, the last time we just, we kind of had a V formation. You can't see it here, but here it does look very weak, and it does look like it's going to break down further. So without further ado, just keep an eye on it, okay? If it does break this 2028-ish level, that's a sure telling sign that it's going to break lower. Now, looking at the USD ZAR, we capitulated here at 1541. We mentioned this last week. Once we broke it with a bar, that continued going. Now, there is a minor resistance at this 1540-ish level. If we do break above it, then we could see ourselves going back to the 1560 to 1590 level, which would be a tremendous correction for the ZAR. Remember, just last February, we were trading as close as 11 to the dollar. Okay, that's the closest it got. The strongest it got. That was after the elections, and sure enough, as things had subsided, we see that we're getting weaker. Now, looking at gold, this is really the one. Okay, once there's momentum, there's momentum. Once there's a general trend, the market follows the trend, and the trend here is upwards. Okay, so we're hitting 1523, which means that we may even go higher than this. The next real resistance, if we look at it, we have to look at a monthly chart. Okay, that's how many times got to look, is 1554. Okay, we're just about 25 points away from that, 20 points away from that. That's our next resistance. So just keep that in mind as we look here for the price of gold. Now, looking at oil, we're at that resistance level of 54.58. Now, the market has been trading in tandem with the oil, but here you can't see that because we've been receding here. We bounced here while the general market sold off. So taking a look at this, let's see what happens. Okay, we are entering hurricane season, so keep that in mind as well. So if we don't break above this 54.60-ish level, we may see it, challenging back to the 52.26. But if we do break above it, that may be a good indication that we're going to go back to the $58 area. Now, looking at the Dow Jones, we're looking at a daily chart. Okay, so we bounced, we had the sharp sell-off going into the beginning of August. It's almost like a timer, okay, where at the beginning of August we started selling off. Simultaneously, we had the FOMC, we had major companies announce, okay, their earning reports, which they came out with good earning reports. However, the market did retrace right afterwards, okay, and we sold off sharply about 2,000 points. We bounced off of it last week, okay, as we sold off, and this is like the 13th of the month. We're just almost, halfway through the month, and we're back down to this 25,800-ish level after this bounce. Okay, now this is the telltale sign. Okay, previous resistance, subsequent support, and if it doesn't hold this 25,800-ish level, it's going to go back lower to the 25,300-ish level. Okay, that's my call for today. Now, I wouldn't jump into it just yet. I want to see it solidify it, and I also want to see what's going to happen with Microsoft, because Microsoft is at that point as well. Because if we look here, it bounced off of this 135 support, which was previous resistance. Okay, we had this resistance several times. It's a round number, and so this may be the point where this catalysts us up. Okay, it may. I'm not saying that it will, but this is something you got to take a look at as today approaches. Now, looking at the biggest tech stocks in the States, you know, Microsoft is the biggest company right now. So with that said, everybody's eyes on Microsoft, okay? At one point, Apple was the biggest company, and now Microsoft has taken the lead again. So everybody's eyeing Microsoft to see which way it's going to go, and you know, it can carry the market, okay? Apple usually was never a computer high-tech company that was able to carry the market. It always traded separate from the market, but Apple is a market-driven stock, okay, which means that if it goes up, then the Dow Jones will go up. Okay, so keep that in mind as that continues to trade later today. This is Fred Razak. I want to wish everybody a great trading day. Thank you.